first off, welcome. I just wanted to take a minute and acknowledge for me personally how awesome it is to have all of you guys. I mean, we have caregivers from a place at home scattered all over the country that's attending this thing for the first time ever. For me, that's just a very cool thing. I appreciate all of you guys being here. I'm not going to take too much time here. Let's just run through the agenda for this evening real quick. First off, we're going to have a welcome from our co-founders, Jerod and Dustin. They are the OGs. They are the guys that started all of this. So paying homage to them, we're going to give them an opportunity to speak to all of you directly as our original franchisers. And then next up, my wife, Chris, she's going to talk to you guys about the change in condition in ClearCare, just some of the nuances of that function, and really give you guys a great perspective of how we as owners use that to track numbers that ultimately matter big time for some of our future goals in this industry. Next, I'm going to be talking to you about maybe a bit of a next level discussion on adult protection reporting, sort of a 201 that expands upon what you guys were told in initial orientations with your employers. And then we have Grace Bradley. She's going to be speaking with you about senior isolation and socialization. Next, Alex with a place at home in Scottsdale, Sun City, and Chandler. He's going to be talking about the life cycle of a client and kind of giving some of you guys as caregivers maybe a bit of a different perspective. You'll be able to look at the client through the lens of all of the aspects of signing and closing that you may not be have exposure to otherwise. Then we have Jerome Phillips. He's going to be talking with you about what is your personal care plan? How do you care for yourself as a caregiver and make sure that you are fully present and have all of you there for our clients, so to speak. And then finally, we wrap up with Chris Adams. He's from a place at home in Orange Park. He's going to be talking about some of the nuances of what to expect with community staffing. So that's what we have in store for you guys tonight. If you have any questions for the presenters while they're talking, feel free to pull up that chat function. We're keeping track of the questions. We're going to allow time at the end of the topics to allow you guys to ask any questions if you have it. So I'm going to cut it off right there. I'm going to hand the controls of the presentation over to Jerod. He's going to give you a little bit of a welcome from him.
All right, everyone. Hello. My name is Jerod Evanich. I'm president and co-founder of A Place at Home. For those of you who I have not had an opportunity to meet personally, perhaps you may have heard of Dustin and myself, and I really look forward to the opportunity to telling you more about where A Place at Home came from, the roots of A Place at Home, why we're here, a little bit about my why, and what got me into the senior industry and helping others. So I look forward to that opportunity. I'm so excited for our first annual caregiver convention across the entire nation we now have 14 locations. Not all 14 are up and running yet. We've got 10 up and running, but a great turnout here today. So thankful for everybody who put it together. So I also wanted to give a quick thank you to our presenters today, Alex and Chris, Grace, Rick and Chris Perkins, and also to Josie and William on our franchise team who helped to put these things together. So greatly appreciate all of those things. So happy to have come so far from our roots and A Place at Home and when we launched back in 2012. So Before I jump into the background of A Place at Home, love to tell you more about me and why I'm a part of this business and this industry. It really started at an early age with my relationship with my grandparents. Still to this day, have a fantastic relationship, very involved with my grandparents, and very lucky to still have all three of them here with us. We have some Omaha caregivers on the presentation today, and there's been a few of you caregivers perhaps even that are joining us today that have taken care of my grandparents in one way or another, or helped them through their aging process. So for that, I thank you, because that is why I am here. But at an early age, definitely had a lot of involvement from my grandparents, definitely mentors for me as to who I wanted to be as a person, as a professional, and owe so much to them, you know, from camping and traveling, and grandpa teaching me how to golf, and grandma just always being there for me, making sure I'm doing my homework, getting the things done I needed to get done. I was always there for them too, as much as I possibly could, helping out around their house, mowing. I was, helping them with their holiday decorations, making sure that if the fence needed painted or light bulbs needed changed, I was there. And so, like everyone, as you start taking on responsibilities through your life, there ends up being less and less of you. I wasn't happy with that. As I had transitioned out of college and into a professional career and started growing a family, I realized there just simply wasn't enough of me to be the grandson that I once was. And so that is what got me thinking about, what can I do to help them? What can I do to create a solution? And you'll hear from my business partner, longtime childhood friend, and co-founder Dustin Distefano here in just a minute. But that's when Dustin and I, was during this time frame, had some discussions as to our own family experiences, and came to the realization that although our own family's circumstances were different, the common solution for that aging process was in-home care. You know, before that, I was really naive to there even being such a service as caregiving and in-home care. But so grateful that we had those conversations early on, and we started at that time really looking for a solution to provide not only our families and our grandparents, but for our communities. And through that, been very grateful for all of those caregivers that have been there with us along the way. We just saw the other day a 5-star review come from a caregiver of ours who was one of our first 10 people who we ever employed back in 2012. So been with us for over 8 years, and just awesome to see that impact and being able to help not only the seniors, but also help caregivers and help them have a lifestyle and provide them with the work that they love to do, and make sure that everybody within our Place at Home system is really working toward that common goal of being the solution and being a part of that wheel, making sure that our clients are being taken care of. So for that, I thank all of you. So A Place at Home, as I had mentioned, we, Dustin and I, launched A Place at Home back in 2012. It was after about a year of really investigating the industry and trying to figure out what kind of solutions we could provide, what kind of services were most needed within not only our own families, but from our community and from the senior network that we were a part of. And so launching in 2012, there was the owners and about 3 initial caregivers in a basement with a mission trying to just take care of people and provide an exceptional service. And so it really has gone a long way since then. The very first service that we added in addition to caregiving was medication administration. At the same time of launching A Place at Home, we also launched our care coordination service. So if there's any services that I mentioned that you're not fully aware of, make sure to talk to your office about it. Make sure you talk to your owners about it, because there's so many ways that we can help clients, and not always does that get related and that information get transmitted down to caregivers and how they can be cognizant and aware of these different services that we offer and how it can be a solution to seniors. All right, so we added medication administration in the Omaha office. Not every location does, and that's okay. But we did notice that as being a solution that we needed to really highlight. We also then started adding staffing services, so being able to help senior communities, doctors' offices, hospitals, rehab centers, anybody who has those certified nursing assistants, the medication aides, to better utilize their schedules. If, for example, they had a client and they had a change of condition and that client immediately kind of stopped those hours, we could transition those caregivers into a staffing capacity. So that was the first kind of additional service line that we added on to better help serve our community as well as our caregivers, to make sure you guys can get the hours that you wanted. We then in 2016 added senior living alternatives. In the industry, this is known as placement services, but our senior living alternatives program help those who can no longer remain in their residential home and are going to be moving to more of a community-based home, whether it be independent, assisted, memory care, or perhaps long-term private care communities. We help with that transition. We help them through that process. And if you ever have clients out there that are discussing a different living alternative, make sure you notify your direct report, your scheduler, your location owner, and keep them in the loop, because it's a great way to keep in that communication and for us to continue to be a part of that solution. You know, along the way, we have created our core values: compassionate, accountable, respectful, and ethical. As you see, you know, we have it on our clothes. We have it on our nursing bags. It's on everything from mouse pads to our website. But it's not just a logo. It's not just a trademark. It really is our values. It's what we believe in, and it's a litmus test. It's a rite of passage. If someone's going to be a part of a place at home, whether it be caregiver, client, whether it be administrative staff, franchise owner, anyone that we work with, we want to make sure are in line with our values. So we took all of these things, we took our model, we took our solution, we took our core values, we bundled it together, and we said, you know what, we want to find other like-minded individuals who want to start a company around this and expand a place at home into the nation. And so we decided to franchise. And in 2017, we issued our very first franchise disclosure document. And in 2018, we launched 3 franchise locations. 2019, an additional 6 locations, and we have about another 4 locations that are coming. So that is a snapshot of our growth and our background, where we've been to, and a little bit of snapshot into the future. Although we have 4 locations that are going to be launching in 2020, we have a solid another at least 4 to 6 locations that are looking very promising for being able to also launch 2020, early 2021, depending on COVID and how that kind of affects things. So I wasn't even planning on mentioning COVID, because obviously we've all heard enough of that. So I'm gonna change subjects and move on to the next slide. Excited for our Caregiver of the Year award. It's coming soon. We're going to have our 2nd annual convention with all of our franchise owners in the fall of 2020. And that's when we're going to be announcing our Caregiver of the Year award. There is going to be different circumstances, different criteria that you're going to have to hit to apply and be considered for this award. And that criteria is going to be coming to you soon. So excited for that. It's a chance for everybody within a place at home to continue to provide the best care and to receive the acknowledgement that they deserve for being such a fantastic caregiver, employee, friend of the client, and really go above and beyond. Lastly, I want to encourage all the caregivers out there who are attending today, as well as anybody else in the system who you know, any other caregivers you know, your friends, people that you see on passing shifts and staffs. I encourage you to get that message out of connecting with us on social media. Connect with your local location page. Send reviews out. We love to hear those great remarks and reviews of things we're doing well. Please also reach out to our national page, follow us, like us, and we so appreciate that. So with that being said, thank you so much for being here today. Glad I am a part of this, and so glad to see where A Place at Home has come in such a short amount of time, and that you all are such an important part of this. So I'm going to move on to Dustin. Dustin, please take it from there, and thank you.
Hello, everybody. I got to request remote control here. And it looks like I got it. All right. Well, welcome to the first ever National Caregiver Convention. First off, I want to say thank you to all of you and what you do on a daily basis for our clients. You guys all need to know, without you, A Place at Home is not possible, for sure, especially right now for all of our clients out there across the nation. I know Jerod mentioned COVID, and we don't want to talk about COVID a lot because you're sick of hearing it. But with this current state of affairs in this world, they need you more than ever. So thank you to all of you who are going to homes and continuing to take care of clients. It's very, very big, not for just the company and all of us, but for them, and that's what it's all about. So I want to start off by piggybacking off Jerod's introduction to the Caregiver of the Year award. As mentioned, this prestigious award is for the caregiver that's gone above and beyond the call of duty for their clients and A Place at Home, the company, but more so the clients. From what I've seen and heard from owners, it's going to be a big competition this year. There's a lot. We have over 200 plus caregivers nationwide, so it's a very big competition. We don't know what the award's going to be, but it's going to be big. It will be a very, very good thing for the person who wins. So I hope everyone's bought into it and is going to continue to do everything they do on a daily basis. So the biggest thing you guys need to do is make sure you tell your local owners you hope to get nominated. Show them why you deserve it and why you care. That's the biggest thing. They're gonna be watching everybody and telling us stories of everything that you do out there over the next 6 months before our convention in September. So make sure that when you do something big, you say, does this get me recognized for the Caregiver of the Year? And make sure they put your name in for that. So that's how we're gonna drive it. When the owners submit their Caregiver of the Year submission this August, I want to share 2 caregivers that really exemplify the Caregiver of the Year, both of which are on this call. So they're responsible and they're on this call as well. Both of them didn't answer my phone call to solidify some facts today, Ashley and Katie. Thank you for that. So if I get it wrong, that's on you. So the first one I'm going to start with is Katie Curlis. Katie was hired back in 2014, has been with us for 6 years. She serviced over 6,900 hours of care, and she's never made an excuse. This lady was one of the most strongest women I've ever met. She has 4 kids, and currently I heard she has 15 dogs. 15 dogs. And I've seen her have a lot of litter, and they're Great Danes. They're not dogs. They're damn near horses. So she's great. She always makes her shift. She's always on time for her clients. In her 6 years of caring, I've never heard one single complaint from anyone. In fact, the only issue I've ever had with Katie was making the mistake of filling her in for a last-minute call-out, because I knew the problem was going to be I was going to get a call requesting Katie back, which is a great problem to have. The problem is her client load is always full, so I can never accommodate that client who requested her back. So then they'd get mad at me because I couldn't pull her from another client who loved her. She's the epitome of what it takes to be the Caregiver of the Year. Had we done this in the past, there's no doubt in my mind she would have been nominated. So thank you, Katie. The other one is Ashley Arenas. She is on this video here, and I can see her. Hi, Ashley. She's another caregiver who she's one of the most joyful, spirited individuals I've ever met. The girl's been in more car accidents than I could count. And I called her to count them up and ask her how many accidents she's been in. But again, she didn't answer her phone call, but she's been in a lot. Eight car accidents. Uber, Ashley, Uber. She's 100% a place home. I mean, she started back in 2013 at the age of 20. She interviewed in my basement. She had to be petrified going into my basement with me and Jerod, 2 males, going into the basement. I commend you for that. That was a big step forward for you right out of the gate. She's serviced over 8,000 hours of care for seniors across with a place and home over her career with us. One thing I want to do is share a story about her that always stuck with me, that exemplifies her qualities of Caregiver of the Year. One of our very first clients went on hospice way back when, and Ashley, I'm sure you remember him. And at that time, Ashley didn't have a lot of experience for this type of situation, but she wasn't deterred from it. She wanted to go. She wanted to go and take care of him. While taking care of this client, Ashley scoured his home and found pictures of family, items that appeared to mean something to him, and made a giant collage around his bed. I mean, this is a guy at the end of his life, and Ashley, this is a 20-year-old gal who, I don't know how she thought of this, because I would have never even thought of it. And she made a collage around his bed of all these important items and family members, and it was really cool to see. And when I heard from the family about it, I mean, I said to myself, this is why we do what we do. This is what got me into it. This is what I'm so very proud of. So same thing with Ashley. You know, there's no doubt in my mind you'd be a Caregiver of the Year if we had done this back in the day. So thanks for everything that you've done over the course of 7 years. So speaking of why I got into this business, I know Jerod shared his story. I wanted to share why I got into this. Back in, I think it was 2011, I was an enterprise rent-a-car manager. I rented cars. So you probably say to yourself, how did a guy who rents cars get into senior care? Well, I was down in Arizona. I was renting cars. I had some things happening with my great-grandmother up here. So I started thinking about in-home care, and being in Scottsdale, and now there's some Scottsdale people on here and Gilbert people looking at the performance that they're doing. I probably should have started this down here as opposed to Omaha, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So coming up here was great because I wanted to start a family. To talk about my grandmother, her name was Estelle. We were trying to manage her care. She was an old farm gal who lived in Audubon, Iowa. If any of you know where Audubon, Iowa is, it's the middle of nowhere, Iowa. And she was an old farm gal. I mean, in the middle of nowhere, and she lived there for 70+ years. She was essentially forced to move into a care facility because she did not want to leave her community, but home care wasn't an option for her there. So she had a choice. It was A, move to Des Moines, Carroll, Omaha, where someone can take care of you or there's home care available, or stay in your community and there's a nursing home that's there and you can move into it. She chose staying in her community, and she still didn't want to do it, but she did it because she wasn't safe. She was 93 years old. She lived to be 102 years old, so she lived 9 years in this community. The problem was that the nursing home was right behind her house. So she would run away. She would get out. She would go home, and I saw this happening to her, and I'm like, this lady wants to be at home. I was in Arizona. I'm helpless. I can't do anything for her. So that's when I started to look into in-home care, and then started talking to Jerod. Again, he mentioned we're longtime friends, known each other since 4th grade. And we both shared the same vision of what we wanted to accomplish, and that was taking care of people at a very, very high level. Seniors to me aren't just people. They're not just customers. They're almost a forgotten class. And we don't want that to happen. So again, thank all of you because you guys make everything happen for them. So that's really my why. That's why I started everything. Fast forward to today, you know, to be franchising and finding like-minded owners that we've had over the course of the year, it's great to see. And every single owner has a story. So you'll never find an owner in this business that wants to come in and just make money. It's not going to work. So the owners that we find have a story to run this, and you guys all need to know that. You also got to know this one thing about Jerod and I that maybe you don't know is that, and it's important for all of you to know, that when we started this business, we wanted to experience and understand what it is for that caregivers go through on a day-to-day basis. We wanted to fully understand what it takes to care for people, and we wanted to make a quality of service. So I went and got we both got our CNAs. I don't know if a lot of you guys knew that. I went and got my CNA, Jerod got his CNA, and we perform care. We encourage all of our owners to get their CNA, although every state's different in requirements on that, and some owners choose to and some don't. But it just helps us get to know you guys better and appreciate you more is what I see. So to this day, I'll never forget that experience. I actually had a lady who I wiped her backside on a toilet in a rehab. If those of you know Brookstone Rehab, and she said I had the most gentle wipe. It was, I mean, I was like, wow, thank you so much. I didn't know what to say. Honestly, I didn't know how to say anything to make her uncomfortable, so I just said thank you. With that, we put together a great convention for you guys today. You know, I got to give a lot of credit to Josie, William, Rick, and Chris, and the speakers. You're going to meet a lot of owners. Like you said, we're going to meet South Portland's owner, Denver, Arizona. So those who are on here from Omaha, they own them in a lot more appealing places in Omaha. But if you move there and quit us because you met them today, we will hold that against you. So without further ado, I'll give it back over to Rick. And thank you guys again for everything that you do. I really do appreciate it.